Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to divide by sheep. Let me go ahead and turn the music back on. I muted it. There we go. So yeah, let's just hop into level 24. So our first goal is 4. We can't go through the fence. It seems like we've established the 3 modifiers that are going to be here. You can't go in this direction with the fence. There are laser walls that will split the sheep in half. Which, yeah, again, if this was a game called Cut the Cheese and you were just cutting cheese in half, then you could replace the wolf characters with just mice, and you'd just have like a little mouse with like a charcuterie board here, trying to get the right amounts of slices of cheese, instead of wolves eating sheep and sheep getting laser sliced in half. Which is, I'm pretty sure, no place anywhere in the world where you would have laser fences that would actually cut sheep in half. That's grotesque and silly for a game that otherwise really should be E for everyone. This should be super kid friendly. I still don't get the weird plants here, and I really don't get the I called it Cthulhu in the first cutscene and Death in the first cutscene, but noticeably we really haven't seen Death or a Kraken-like character, which is probably the better descriptor of what that Cthulhu-like character was. 4. So basically the only way you can do this is if you just toss everything. Just lose 5 to begin with. And so if this was a case where you just needed to, in one run, get this star, and then in another run you could get this star, and in another run you could get this star, as it often is in these star-based puzzle games, that would be pretty easy to pull off. Although I'm really thinking in this case you probably do have to get all 3 stars in a row to get 3 stars, the way it is highlighting and animating things. So next we would want to get to 3, and then we're going to want 5 at some point. So this would get us to 3. Then it's just going to come down to splitting things, but the splitting here in particular is going to come down to the majority of things ending up here, because this lights up first. Yeah, and a lot of these puzzles seem really easy, and then you'll run into the occasional puzzle that feels really hard. Okay. So this time we're looking for 3 wolves, which seems like the first move here would be to just throw 2 wolves this way. And perhaps it shouldn't be a case that there's a wolf in the foreground. There's a sheep in the background on the sheep landing pads, but yeah, I don't feel like that's as big of a deal. So you're just subtracting a lot of wolves here to get to that, and then you're subtracting a lot of wolves here to get to that, and there just aren't enough sheep remaining. So how do we maintain 5 sheep anywhere? That is definitely going to be the question. if we bounce the wolves here, that's not going to get to 1. If we bounce the sheeps here, that does kind of feel like that's what needs to happen here, is that we potentially just need to get this sheep out of the way. So that's 5 sheep. There's our 5 sheep right there. Then do something like this, where we have 1 there. Okay. And then I guess you do this to get to that. And we need the sheep just gone now. We can't move this here because then he'll just eat the sheep and stop bouncing. What we need probably is something like this to get that down to 4. Wait a minute. That was wrong, but yeah, I really wish you had some undo possibilities here. Okay. We want 1 sheep, 1 wolf to make it that direction. This just would leave us with 1. Do that, which can do that, which then lets us put that out of the way, which then lets us do that. But I guess I'm just willing to give up pretty quick here, because yeah, that's just 4, so we would need 1 more sheep somewhere. Unless this was a case where, no, I don't think flinging that in that direction would make sense, or flinging 1 here in that direction makes sense. Doing this leaves you with 4. Now we need 1. And how can we get 1 out of this mess? Yeah, that just doesn't feel like that works in any way. I could fling all of these here, and then that would leave me with 1. And then we could do our 4 again, but then we have only 4 here. So if I did this, and then did this, and they'll just let me bounce back that way. We have a 1 here. You can get that forward. And that gets us down to 5. And that gets me down to 3. And that gets me to 4. There we go. So it was just a bunch of bouncing to solve that puzzle. And this time it's always going to be split, so if this is a halfway split on 7, with that being the bigger number, that feels like that's going to be 4. Let's just test that to see if that's the case. Yeah. That immediately we know is wrong. We need 2, which means we need this 4 to work somehow. So let's just throw one of these and see how that splits. Okay. Then we need 6 to somehow land, which may just be a case of having a bunch, or it may just be a case of not really caring about it. Like, there's kind of nothing you can do here. Like, you can't squeeze any sheep on this platform. You can't take the sheep to this platform. So my guess, as far as what you're supposed to do, is to just lose all these sheep and do that. Maybe you didn't really need to lose all those sheep after all. Let's see, now we're at 7. We want to get 6 in there. So that's going to leave me with 2 remaining sheep. Just going around in circles to get it. It's probably about time for something different, something new, and I do think there is a pretty high danger here in a game like this that just won't happen. So we want 6. You know, we have 4 here, so if we did 4 here, and then split that in half, and then did that gets you your 6. But I don't think that helps you any further than that. Yeah. We can do that, and we can do that. And we can get 3. But we're missing a ton of sheep now. There's supposed to be 4 sheep remaining somehow. I wonder if this isn't really more of a case that you're just supposed to not use the laser at all. I suspect that is probably what's going on here. So you're supposed to just split things up. So you can get to that point. And so a level like this is probably just supposed to be training you to know that you're not always going to use the lasers just because the lasers are available to you. Or in this case, you are going to use the laser, but only at the very end. Let's see. The name of this game is very weird, I have to say. Like, it does just seem like a strange title, Divide by Sheep. It sounds like it's supposed to be a pun on something called a phrase, divide by sleep, but that phrase also doesn't mean anything. Counting sheep is a phrase. To try to go fall asleep, yes. And sheep sleep almost certainly do play a role in that phrase. Not this phrase. Yeah, I have no clue as to what I'm supposed to be doing here. That'll get me 2. This at some point would get me 3. Then we need to, I think, effectively just cycle everything around here to get out of the way of everything else. Doing a figure 8 movement, basically. Of course, if the game was like called divide by 0, which is a mathematical concept of being impossible, then you would just be implying the game is impossible, so that's not a particularly good name either. Almost certainly you would have thought, and maybe this was a copyright issue, that it would have made sense if this was called SOS, Save Our Sheep, or Slaughter Our Sheep, either one. Then that would explain the little SOS when the platoons here are overburdened with too many characters. If I just was able to put 2 guys here, I guess we really only need 4 sheep in this puzzle. So we could do that, we could do that, we could do that, we could do that. And that wouldn't work, would it? I guess the move might be to see how this just divides up. That gives you only 1 guy. So it would have to be that feeds 1. Now we're down to 2 wolves. Then this has to just go away, which can then put our 2 wolves here, and then maybe we can save some wolves by doing this, and then doing this. We can save some sheep. We only need 4 sheep in the entire mess, but getting the 4 sheep actually in the right spot is going to be the next step, isn't it? I'm going to have to fling here to get 1, and fling here again to get a second one. So we're just really not going to do anything with these 4 sheep down here. Definitely feels like you could have changed the number of characters you needed to save and make these puzzles a little bit more difficult. Alright, so in this one we just need 6. Which, on the face of it, seems like you could just do this, and then this. And honestly, you don't even need to do that. You've got to lose a bunch of wolves one way or the other. You can't go diagonal. So then that's going to give you 3. And then we are just going to try and save the remaining 7 somehow, which means we need something more. I don't know exactly how we're gonna do this. This, like... do that, and then this is gonna lose 1. Which will just get you down to 6. And lost more than 1. There. So we can get to 2 there. And we can do here. We can do here. We can do here. We can do here. And that's too many, or 1 short. So what I think the move here is that you've got to probably burn one of these guys this direction, which is fine, because you're going to burn another one of these guys either way. These are your limiters in this whole setup. So a group of 4 without a bouncer can't be split anyways. So you just go ahead and lose 1 guy there. Didn't do that. Let's do that. And again, your limiter is here, so that goes down to 3 regardless. And that gets our 7. And we've just gotten an achievement called Hello World, which I would assume means that we have done everything in the green world. And it definitely doesn't feel like there was anything introduced here that would help me wrap my brain around this puzzle as far as a new mathematical concept. I'm just not thinking it correctly. And same, I think, is pretty much true here. The figure 8 shape of this layout probably does indicate that there is a secret around this, but mostly I think it is just going to be coming down to, do you feed this to that, or do you feed this to that? Probably not. Or do you bounce this here and split it? You have a 6 here, and so the only thing you can either do is lose 3 and then add 2, and then you wouldn't have enough to get the last 3, or to try and split it, which splitting also doesn't work. So it seems like what you've got to do is throw 1 wolf there to do that. And then don't think there's anything more we can do there. Like, we gotta get the wolf over here to then split that to do that. Then you can bounce. You bounce one way or you bounce the other way, and it seems like you're just gonna have to keep the wolf bouncing. Interesting. So that's 1. And that leaves another here to go around like this. Interesting. This is the solution. It's just going around in a figure 8 shape. So let's see if we can get all of this correct now. Well, if you were to do this, that gets rid of a bunch. Then you have a limiting factor here of you're gonna lose 3. one way or the other. Yeah, immediately here I don't see how splitting this in half will get me 1. Yeah. This not being split in half doesn't help me. This here doesn't help me. Splitting something in half here and then splitting something else in half elsewhere. This is our final 6, so if we can just get a 4, that would be interesting. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how you get your 4. So how do we get our 5? Is, I guess, the question. Well, that is half of 5. Like 5 halves. There. Imagine if you're good at fractional math and keeping things as fractions in your head, this might be easier than if you were good, say, at decimal point mathematics. So that should be 3. And that should just mean that this works here. And again, that's that figure 8 point, and I just got an achievement for that too. So if we see that figure 8 shape, I think we have learned now that that is an indication of going around in circles. So next time we'll do Ice World, and with any luck these puzzles won't get too difficult too quick, and we'll be able to continue to maintain momentum. There is definitely some weirdness around these kind of puzzle games, because particularly if you're getting them on your cell phone, like, I think the creators of these kinds of games assume that you're only going to solve 1 or 2 puzzles in a day, and yeah, it's just not really realistic. You are more than likely going to try to have what would be a more normal play session of a couple hours, and if you really just put a couple hours into this game, you're going to make significant amounts of progress. And sometimes you'll see games try to slow that down by having a fatigue system and a stamina system, so you can only play certain numbers of puzzles per hour, but that's never really a well accepted and appreciated system either. Inherently you run into this problem that making a puzzle game means you are putting a lot more work and polish into making the puzzles good, compared to somebody who may just solve it and blow through the solution in like a minute or 2. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.